Hello everyone, a very good morning and greetings from AIMS New Delhi. First of all, I would like to thank the PGI team for giving me this opportunity to share my views on hybrid feedback modes. I hope all of you are having a great time over there. I really miss being there. I would briefly discuss the advantages and the pitfalls of the hybrid feedback modes. I understand a lot has been discussed about the same in the last 2 days. We'll quickly go through the utility, what are the advantages, what are the common modes, the pitfalls, what's the current evidence of utility of these modes in pediatrics, and how do we go about monitoring these patients. Uh, we know that these modes basically have advantages of both pressure and volume control, and therefore they are called hybrid modes. They improve the synchrony, and we also have artificial intelligence in play over here, which through closed loop circuits gives us constant feedback and therefore helps us uh, optimize ventilation in these patients. They also have a role in auto weaning. So why does this topic matter, and why are we saying that whether these modes are double-edged swords now? Because we remember that when these modes came into the market, we were all very happy that okay, we have some modes which are automatically, intelligently sensing the patient's efforts and are modifying the ventilation to suit the demands of the patient, and therefore they may be lung protective. But is it so? With increasing use of dual control modes and they being marketed as automatic lung protection, widely used in PRDS, bronchiolitis, post-op patients. But do they truly ensure lung protective ventilation? This is a very pertinent question we have to ask ourselves at this point of time, and therefore I think this topic is very, very relevant. Hybrid modes, as we know, they are basically pressure control breaths with a volume targeting algorithm. I know that a lot has been discussed about these modes, but just to put things into perspective, I'll quickly go through some of the modes. And I'll start with PRVC, APV, SIMV. These are dual control modes where breath is pressure controlled, variable decelerating flow, these are time cycled. Ventilator adjusts the inspiratory pressure to achieve the set tidal volume. So this is the basic principle of this mode, and algorithm adjusts the PIP based on previous breath VT. So there is a servo control feedback loop which we know. It measures the exhale tidal volume, compares with the target tidal volume, and it increases or decreases the inspiratory pressure, and which updates the next breath. The next breath is delivered as per all these calculations. So it achieves volume support while keeping the peak inspiratory pressure at a lowest level possible, and therefore we hope that it is lung protective. So this is one review article which has compared the SIMV and the adaptive support ventilation on patient outcomes. This is a systematic review, and according to this, the review says that there is definitely a lung protective component of these modes, and they are guaranteeing target tidal volume. There is automatic compensation for compliance changes. There is lower peak pressure and more gentle. This diagram shows us exactly how the PRVC mode is working. You can see that the ventilator is continually monitoring and adapting to the patient's need and changing its pressure to reach the set tidal volume as well as not exceed the upper limit of the pressure that we have set. Thereby, we hoping that it's lung protective. But then, is it really so? And Or is it a double-edged sword? Because the algorithm that we are seeing here is responding to volume, it's not responding to the lung stress. Therefore, if there are rapid compliance shifts, what does the ventilator do? If there are strong spontaneous efforts, what does it do? In case of air leaks, it's going to increase the pressures tremendously to achieve the set tidal volume, thereby worsening the leak. And there can be auto escalation of pressure. And also we know the prerequisite that PRVC, it should be set in patients who have stable respiratory drive. The other mode, that is the volume assured pressure support, this is a dual control within a breath. PRVC was dual control between breaths. This is within a breath. The breath will switch from pressure control to volume control. There is both flow cycling and volume cycling happening within the same breath, and there are backup rate if there is no spontaneous breaths. The proportional assist ventilation, the provider, we set the PEEP, we set the pressure flow assist. volume assist is in proportion to the patient's spontaneous efforts. So the greater the patient's effort, the higher the flow volume pressure. So what is going to happen? If a patient is having strong spontaneous efforts and the patient is on PAV, the pressure, volume, flow, everything is going to increase as per the patient's efforts. So feedback loop with rapid calculation of compliance and resistance within each breath is provided in this ventilator, but it needs a spontaneously breathing awake patient. Advantages: there is improved asynchrony because the ventilator will adjust to the patient's spontaneous efforts. Then we have the adaptive support ventilation, the ASV mode. It's a closed loop control which adjusts based on the patient's requirements. So there are three things that can happen in adaptive support ventilation. Either there can be no mode, there can be integrated mode, or there can be 3 in 1 way. What do we understand by this? In ASV, there can be the mode can be only PSV if the patient's respiratory rate is higher than the target. It can be pressure controlled if there is no spontaneous breathing, and it can be SIMV when patient's respiratory rate is lower than target. And within a breath, it can change, or within few breaths, it can change from one mode to the other. So it combines these various ventilatory modes. It optimizes the work of breathing. That is one advantage of the ASV, and it's basically an improvisation of the MMV, that is the mandatory minute ventilation. This equation that you see here is the Otis et al. Equation which is used. What are the advantages and disadvantages of ASV? It's a versatile, extremely safe to use mode, ventilates virtually all intubated patients actively or passively. Patients prevents tachypnea, auto-peep, dead space, less need of human manipulation of the machine, decreased time on the mechanical ventilation, adjust to patient's respiratory effort. But the disadvantages are it does not allow direct programming of all these variables, limited experience in pediatric patients, and only available in the Hamilton ventilators. So these are the things we need to keep in mind for ASV. Now I'll take you through some scenarios to understand whether why they are AA source and why they are entirely not lung protective. For example, you take a patient with ARDS. Is volume target always lung protective here? If there will be no in ARDS, there is reduced compliance, reduced tidal volume. So what will happen? Automatically the ventilator will increase the PIP to reach the target tidal volume, and driving pressure will increase. There is over distension of the lung segments. Driving pressure, we know P flat minus PWP, and if compliance worsens for the same tidal volume, the delta P is going to be increased, and therefore this is going to be detrimental for the patient. We know the disadvantages of having very high driving pressures. The second scenario is patient is breathing spontaneously. So when a child has strong inspiratory efforts, ventilator senses large tidal volume. It decreases its pressure support. For example, the PRVC mode. Next breath will be under supported. Patient effort is again increased. So what is happening? There is breath to breath variability, and patient is finding it difficult to synchronize with the ventilator. So asynchrony can be more if the spontaneous efforts are very strong, and there is variable transpulmonary pressure. The other modes, that is the SIMV based hybrid modes, in this mandatory breaths are volume targeted, spontaneous breaths are pressure supported. So there are two modes which are coming into play over here, but there is risk of breath stacking, there is inconsistent tidal volume, and there is increased work of breathing. Example, we can see this happening in bronchiolitis. But these modes definitely they have their advantages, and they do work well in some circumstances, like when the patient is well sedated, when there is stable compliance, post-op patient, and less severe lung disease. Volume protective in stable lungs, but it amplifies the lung stress and strain in unstable lungs is what we need to understand about these hybrid modes. There are some pediatric specific concerns also. There is misinterpretation of the physiology by the algorithm, because especially in case of rapid compliance shifts, we know that the airway resistance is dynamic in children. There can be ET tube leaks in small children. Variable efforts, the efforts may not be consistent, and in case of heterogeneous lung disease, so the ventilator may find it difficult to interpret the physiology and make its modifications accordingly, and therefore they may not be very well suited to pediatric patients. There is no strong evidence of mortality benefit also which has been seen with these modes. For example, in 2019 this paper was published. There was low intensity of ventilation in COVID-19 patients with this IntelliVent ASV, but the authors concluded that further studies are required to see if reduction in the intensity translates into clinical benefits. Similarly, another paper here we can see ASV mode compared with SIMV mode improved lung compliance and decreased respiratory death rates. So these are basically just case reports. They have not demonstrated much benefit. This is a patient, this 11-year patient with a status asthmaticus demonstrating that ASV results in decreased peak pressure without causing autopy. In another paper, the authors observed that there were less days of stay in mechanical ventilation, less sedation, and reduction in hospital stay. So some case reports have been showing, have been encouraging, but we know that it depends on the entirely on the physiology and the pathophysiology of the lung and the child. So how do we go about monitoring these patients? We need to monitor the driving pressure, the plateau pressure, compliance, patient effort, waveforms for asynchrony. We cannot rely only on the tidal volume. The real target should be to limit the delta P, minimize the transpulmonary stress, individualize the tidal volume to the compliance, and real-time monitoring should be done to get the best effects or best use to make best use of these modes. With this, I would like to present the key messages here that hybrid modes are tools, they are not solutions. They are highly dependent on the lung physiology, and they are definitely not lung protective by default. They are not superior by default. We have to treat them as adjuncts only and not as the primary mode for initiating ventilation in children, and they are not replacements for clinical judgment. We cannot leave a patient after putting them on these hybrid modes and think the ventilator is going to do the job. Because the physiology may change and it will require constant adjustments. So therefore we have to continually use our intelligence to make optimal use of this intelligent modes. Thank you.